The Reading Phillies have won 4 Eastern League titles over the years, but it was the most recent one in 2001 which put trophies and rings into perspective and reminded us that baseball is only a game.
Remember, we're up in New Britain. We just had an emotional series win. We were the wild card that year. Erie was the division winner and supposed to steamroll through the playoffs. They had like 2 guys knocking 100 runs. It's unheard of in the minors. We had a big upset over them. Everybody's so excited about, getting started. Brett Myers is on the mound.
We were on a high. We were going to New Britain to start the series. I believe it was a 2-3 series, so the first 2 games would have been there. The next 3 would have been here. I think we would have been favored to win that series. We were playing really well. We had hoped to celebrate another championship at home like we had in 1995.
You're on such a high because you're going to the finals for the 2nd straight year, and you'd just beaten a very good Erie team to get to the championship series, and then September 11th hits.
This is perhaps the most horrific sight anyone could have witnessed in a lifetime.
Everybody knows where they were when the planes hit.
I was at home that morning. I was going up to New Britain that day, and as Mike Drago of the Reading Eagle and I left to drive to New Britain, we knew something was going on in New York. We knew there was 2 planes into the World Trade Center. We didn't know everything else that was about to happen, obviously.
I was in my office, and I remember we only had one TV in the office down in the ticket office at that time, and someone said, "You got to come down and see this." Or a plane ran into one of the Twin Towers.
And I remember coming down to the ticket office at the time, had a half door, and I'll never forget being there, and everybody's huddled around the TV. And I came down to get my coffee, and I remember coming down and Mike Becker saying an airplane crashed into the World Trade Center, and I was just like, first thing you think is it's an accident.
And then as you're watching that, here comes another jetliner into the other side of the building, and wow, at that point in time, you don't know what's going on, and the last thing you're thinking about is baseball.
And then it was live on TV. You could see the second one coming, and I don't remember if I said it out loud or I just thought it, but the words I remember is, "That's no accident." And then you saw the second one, and then that was it. Baseball became secondary.
But we listened on the radio all the way to New Britain and just couldn't believe what was happening to our country, realizing that we certainly weren't going to play that night.
The shrieks and cries from our own office when when they collapsed, it was something I hope I never see again.
And you get to New Britain, which isn't too far from New York City, and you're watching everything on the news, and you try to lead as much of a daily routine as you can. You have to go get something to eat and do things like that, but it was just surreal.
That was my first week really as the guy in charge of the PR department. I worked with Mark Wallace up until that point, so that was really my first week being in charge.
Ironically, that night, they had planned to have like a going away dinner for me and through the Phillies, and Chuck called me up and said, "Hey Waldo, we gotta, because of this situation, we got to postpone this," and which I understood.
And then you don't play Tuesday. You go to the ballpark Wednesday, and they decide we're not going to play on Wednesday. Players work out a little bit. Nobody really wants to play baseball at that point. We realize the gravity of this entire situation, and we're playing just a game in the grand scheme of things. Thursday, the same thing. You go to the ballpark, and you're still watching everything unfold down the road in New York City.
And there was a lot of back and forth with the league office, try to play that series, try to get going. It just became obvious that, that came secondary.
It got delayed one day, then it got delayed a second day, but as other series, all minor leagues were in their playoffs, and the AAA canceled theirs, the Single A canceled theirs, Major League Baseball canceled, I think, a week or so worth of games.
And finally, the Eastern League made the correct decision to cancel the championship series. I think the players were relieved because a lot of them just wanted to go home to see their family, make sure everybody was safe and sound.
I think the league certainly did the right thing because that's a moment in our country's history that, far supersedes anything that could go on the baseball field, or for that matter, anything.
The Eastern League was the last league to cancel their season. So as it turned out, we gave rings out to just the players that year. Both us and New Britain decided that we would just be called co-champions. And obviously it was a bittersweet type of championship, but everybody understood.
Certainly not the way you want to win a championship, but in the end it was the right call, and it's something obviously I would not want anybody else to have to experience again.